I wanna spend some time with you. Just the two of us. We can make it if we try. Just the two of us.
Hello everybody, my name is Longtails and welcome back to another episode of Katawa Shoujo. Regarding last episode, basically, I think I fixed the stuttering issues or the pausing issues for my game, I think, hopefully. And also, what do you guys think of me doing Facecam videos? Or at least for Katawa Shoujo and or other visual novels in the future? Because I don't know, because I will make different types of videos in the future, but I don't know if I will add a face cam for those videos. Especially, a spoiler, I will be making a new mini series soon. Just not at the moment. Maybe next week, I would say. But anyways, if you guys really want a face cam, I might do it in the future. Maybe not right now. I feel like I would be just really awkward in front of a camera anyways, but maybe if I try and get used to it, then I'll start doing it for almost all my videos. Maybe this is I just want to see your guys' opinion on if you guys want to see it or not. But anyways, let's get into it. The students roll into class for the Saturday morning session, each and every one of them sporting the tired eyes of people who have worked through the night. With a day left to prepare, I suppose it's not so surprising. Thankfully, we only have to suffer through classes until the lunch break, and then our time is our own. Muto lurches into class in a tired stagger. I suppose students aren't the only people here that enjoy their late Friday nights. Without saying a word, he scrolls some page and question numbers on the board and slumps down at his desk. It's a completely atypical behavior for him, but it appears that no one in the class is going to call him out on it. Wordlessly, the students shuffle their textbooks into position and get to work. Not wanting to break the trend, I do the same. Fatigue has made the class antisocial. Not a peep is heard among the ruffling papers. That can partly be attributed to the two empty seats beside me. For some reason, Misha and Shizune aren't present, probably doing council work for the festival. It's very quiet without Misha present. I wonder if she was born as rowdy as she is, or if she is making up for Shizune's lack of voice. Nakai, can I speak to you for a moment? I'm so engrossed in thinking about Misha that I don't even notice Mito approaching my desk. Sure, what's this about? It's probably better if we speak outside the classroom. Something about this doesn't sound too good, but I don't stand up and follow him out into the hallway. Oh wait, but I stand up and follow him out into the hallway. Muto stands in the hallway, scratching his head as he works out what he is trying to say. Not knowing what is going on, I wait silently. So, tell me, how are things? Things? I expected Muto to be a little vague, but this is pushing the limits. You know, things. You've had a week to settle in now, so how are things? Fine, I guess. I see. And how is your condition? The pause before condition seems a little unnecessary. Haven't had any problems so far. A brief shimmer of relief passes across Mito's face. Good, that's good. The school nurse was a little concerned that you might have been pushing yourself a bit too hard. He asked me to keep an eye on you and when he couldn't. That makes sense. I'd ask that you don't blow us off so freely. As much as we try to give you the level of education that you should get in normal school, you have to realize that you have limits. Our goal is to make sure that you know where those limits are and how to maximize your potential within them. Do you follow me? I guess. I don't plan on doing anything stupid. Well, that's a start, I guess. So then, on to my next question. How are you finding your studies? I understand you were laid up for a while. We're not too far ahead, are we? I don't really think so. I tried to keep up when I was in the hospital, so it hasn't been too hard. Muto taps his chin and raises an eyebrow as he absorbs this information. Is that so? I suppose there's still students out there who realize the importance of learning. I wouldn't go that far. I was only trying to keep myself occupied in my little life support prison. Well, yeah, you've got to keep up with these things, right? That's exactly it. One wrong move in this world and you're left behind, right? Right. Wouldn't want that to happen. No, you wouldn't. Every week there's a new scientific discovery. Most of them mean nothing to the layperson. But any one of them could be the key to the next big thing. I'll keep that in mind. It's obvious that Muto's serious talk is over, and he's gone back to his standard, slightly scatterbrained approach to life. I think, in hindsight, that I prefer him this way. He's slightly more predictable in his unpredictability. Well then, I think that's all I really had to say. Let's get back inside, shall we? Relief at that suggestion is insurmountable. Sure, you're the boss, right? Whatever. Muto pauses for a moment. I don't think any of my students have ever said that to me before. For an instant, I consider replying to this, but something deep within me tells me to shut my mouth and get back to the classroom. A few of the students jump at the sound of the door, rapidly trying to pretend that they are working on the questions on the board. Some don't even bother, their heads slumped on the desk as they nap. Thankfully, it would appear that Muto does not even notice them. He returns to his desk and retrieves a scientific journal from one of the drawers. I guess I got to him there. The class returns to the near silence that Muto and I left in it before our chat. Mixed feelings of tiredness and anticipation buzz around the room. Everyone here is either waiting for a chance to rest or the chance to get their last-minute preparations underway. The clock on the wall slowly ticks the remaining class time away, until finally the bell cries out, ending the torment. Before you all leave, I expect the answers for those problems by Monday. The class sighs as one, instantly regretting slacking off, but still acutely aware of the more pressing issues at hand. The classroom empties in a blink as everyone rushes to their last-minute festival preparations. I stay behind and try to quickly finish the questions so I don't have to bother with it over the rest of the weekend, with the festival and all tomorrow. Oh, Hanako. Apart from me, Hanako's the only one left, obviously waiting for Lily. It's weird that Lily comes all the way to her classroom to pick her up. I expect that moving around is at least nominally harder for her than it is for Hanako. But it's none of my business, and I naturally don't ask about it from Hanako. Despite the relative proximity of our seats, neither tries to strike up a conversation about that or anything else either, so an oppressive silence falls upon the classroom. Time passes in silence. It's probably just 15 minutes or so, but it feels longer. I turn pages to my notebook. Hanako turns pages of the novel she's reading. My pencil lead splinters against the paper just when I was about to finish a paragraph. The sounds of my irritated sigh and subsequent fumbling around for a sharpener feel like they're breaking the mood in the classroom. Hanako keeps her eyes firmly away from my direction. Before long, Lily's tall figure appears in the doorway. Hanako? Her name is all it takes to make Hanako jump up from her desk and run to Lily. They talk quietly for a moment, but it isn't long before Lily leaves down the hall and Hanako idles back into the classroom, taking her seat once again. I watch Hanako out of the corner of my eye out of sheer curiosity at the idea that the two would be separated. For a couple of minutes, she does nothing but sit with her chin in her hand, staring at the desk dejectedly. Boredom evidently becomes too much for her though, her slender frame reaching into her bag and pulling out a small book. Come to think of it, that isn't the one I saw her reading at the library. She must be quite a fast reader to get through them at this rate. But why would Lily leave her to her own devices? It seems to be quite out of the ordinary, going by Hanako's reaction. Ah, that's right. I think Lily mentioned something about going to town today before Rin bumped into us. Thought of that walk makes me look outside. Ooh, the clouds. The bright sun and the occasional people wandering around and enjoying the afternoon make me yearn to get out of the school, or at least do something other than sit here. Giving into one of my worst vices, procrastination, I decide that history is a subject best studied on a Sunday, or a Monday, or on any day other than this one. I give a grunt as I lever myself out of my seat, briefly debating with myself whether or not to hang out with Kenji. Oh god, please not Kenji. He doesn't strike me as the enjoying the nice weather outside with others kind of person, really. I guess I'll catch up with him later. Changing tacks, I briefly entertain the idea of talking with Hanako. By the time I look at her seat, it's vacant. He must have left for the library. There's gotta be something to do that can kill the time. Maybe Lily went to town and then... Would that be stalking? I don't know. I mean, we did want to go outside because of how such a nice day it was, so I think we should just go outside. Following Hanako to the library seems a bit intrusive. Yeah, there was a reason she left the classroom after all. And that aside, I do want to catch up with Lily. At the very least, I'd like to thank her for looking out for me despite her other obviously taxing duties. I guess I'll walk around town. With any luck, I should be able to find Lily. The exercise will do me good as well. Walking through the school courtyard to the gate, I give a small nod to a couple of passing classmates, the gesture being returned in kind. Even from here, the shouts of the sports club members can be heard. From the sheer volume of the din, the track must be packed right now. I remember what Lily said yesterday about being dropped right into the middle of a busy time for the school. While I'm trying to get my bearings and catch up on study that I missed, everyone else is doing normal school activities. The feeling of being a foreigner still hasn't dissipated. At least not yet. Well, I guess not everything's bad. Music's kinda loud, I'm gonna turn it down a little bit. Oh wait, did I make the text speed higher? Yeah, okay. Just wanna make sure. This is a private school, and that much is easily noticed when walking around outside. Not only are the school grounds huge, but the buildings themselves are immaculate and quite divorced from the dime a dozen concrete blocks of public schools. There's also the fact that there's a much stronger feeling of community here, or at least a friendlier atmosphere. At my old school, it was generally accepted that people would keep to their little clique and be done with it. Eventually I reach the gate and begin to walk down the road and into town. Well, that was fairly productive. Having seen a fair portion of the town, even including the houses perched on the hills around the outskirts, I decided to take a walk around the park before heading back. Living in this city all my life, the total lack of smartly dressed businessmen and fashionably dressed girls strikes me as incredibly unusual. All that's to be seen are the odd elderly person shuffling along the sidewalk and assorted busily chatting pairs of middle-aged women outside of small storefronts. Walking along the road to the park quickly distracts me from them, though, making me realize that I perhaps pushed myself further than I should have done to see as much as I could. As my breath begins to wheeze and my chest tightens more and more, I give up on the prospect of soldiering on. After a quick glance around the park as I enter, I take a seat on a wobbly old bench that I notice near a couple of vending machines. For minutes on end, I sit with my head bent over, forcing myself to take deep breaths. I feel more like an old man than a teenager who should be in the prime of his life. The stay in the hospital, the surgery and the medications must be taking their toll on me. Damn it. Eventually, my breathing returns to normal and the muscles in my chest loosen, not without a fair measure of relief. I guess this means the end of my little sojourn thought, though. The end of my little sojourn, though, in any case. That might be a typo, I'm not sure. Whatever. There's a cafe on the far corner, so I'll stop by to quench my thirst before heading back. The little bell above the door signals my arrival to an empty counter. For a few moments I stand there waiting, my eyes every now and again drifting from one end of the counter to the other, searching for a service file. Eventually a door some ways behind the counter opens. The person emerging from it takes me by complete surprise. Yuko? Hi, I had no idea you worked here. I really have no idea how to address her either, given that she is technically school staff as well as apparently a waitress. Ah, yes, She quickly paces up to the counter before flinging her upper half downwards in an overacted bow. Welcome to the Shanghai. May I take your order? Straight down to business, I see. I don't know. Well, some coffee, please. Yes, certainly. I'll make it right away and bring it to you when it's done. Ah, thanks. Yuko's formality takes me aback. She seems to take her job very seriously. Obeying her instructions, I turn around and quickly glance around for a free table. Considering the cafe seems to be empty, this is a simple task to accomplish. As I walk toward a table adjacent to the window, I notice a flash of yellow around one of the table dividers. Sure enough, no more than a glance is needed to ascertain that it's a certain Sato at the table. That said, I don't recognize the suited figure across the table from her. Blonde, fair-skinned, and only a little shorter. She? I think she must be a relative. Since the two are all but silent as the suited figure takes a swig from the cup of coffee, I decide to greet Lily. Some part of my coming here was in order to meet her after all. Hi, Lily. Isao? Isao? Yeah, nice to see you again. The suited girl looks up, noting my uniform with a relaxed smile. Know each other? I guess. It's as good as an approximation of a relationship as I can think of. Care to take a seat? She says this to the air beside me, but the message is clear enough and I take a seat beside her. I suppose some introductions might be in order. Isao, this is Akira Sato, my older sister. Akira, this is Hisao Nakai, another Yamaku student. Looks like my guess was correct. The newly introduced Akira gives a nod, which I return. What I don't return, however, is the almost analytical gaze with which she looks me over. As she does so, Yuko walks up to the table and carefully places the coffee on the table before bowing and taking her leave. Gently bringing my hand to the side of the cup, I realize that it's already at just the right temperature to drink. After taking a sip, the flavor turns out to be just as good as the temperature. Yuko seems a lot better at this than being a librarian. Wow. I take a good long drink before relaxing into the seat. It takes mere seconds for Akira's examination to come to an end. Apparently becoming quickly bored with the activity, she turns to her sister. So, how's school recently? I don't know what kind of voice I should give her. Maybe... It's hard to make different voices for each character. I might give a similar voice as Lily, but maybe make it more, I don't know, suave? I don't know. We'll see. We'll just give random voices to people. However it may seem fit for them. It seems Akira is entirely unconcerned with someone she doesn't know at all listening to everything they say. Not that I mind. Leaving them to their chatting, I sit back and continue drinking the pleasantly aromatic coffee. Sounds like it's pretty busy for ya then. At least I'm not cooking your meals after school anymore. As they talk, I slowly realize that I'm entirely unable to gauge Lily's emotions through her eyes, as I would for any other person. It becomes slightly unsettling as I subconsciously focus on that fact. Whoa, so cold. Weren't you just cooking for yourself anyway? I only ever got leftovers. That's not the point. Are you managing to feed yourself, at least? I can cook without blowing myself up, you know? Mostly. That's... Hahaha, it's fine. I need to learn sometime anyway. Lily? Everyone present is momentarily distracted by Yuko, who places a cup of tea on the table for Lily. Taking the moment to glance at her watch, Akira levers herself off her seat and gives me a quick nod. I thought I misread that, that's why I did a retake. Well, I'd better be off. It was nice talking to you, Lily. Akira, do you have to? Lily looks genuinely mournful at her sister suddenly leaving. It does seem like she might have the wrong idea. Yeah, I'm just gonna do the thing where I skip it and then go back. Sorry, I need to get back to work. They'll be on my neck again if I don't make it back quickly. So informal. Akira's trim and tidy appearance would give anyone the wrong impression of her. Bye, Akira. Come on, don't look so down. I'll be around again soon. Yes. With that, she waltzes out of the Shanghai with her hand held high. Lily still looks pretty depressed, so I try to make some small talk in an effort to take her mind off of it. She seems nice. We used to live together, but now that I live at school, we hardly ever see each other. Despite Lily having been quite affable, I still don't really know much about her. In hindsight, it's surprising just how much she's extracted from me, really. You used to live together? Was it somewhere around here? It was pretty far south, so the trip into Yamaku was fairly long. With her working hours getting longer and Yamaku being so far away, there was little choice in the end but to move into the dormitories. While that explains the chatter about cooking, evidently regaining her composure, she livens it back up, at least in part. I take it you're better rested now. Sorry? You sound less exhausted than you did when you first came in. To be able to pick out my breathing like that, she must have pretty good ears. Yeah, ended up walking all over town despite only planning on taking a short walk down here. Reminded of my thirst from the walk, I leaned forward to take a sip. Without further ado, Lily starts on her cup of strong-smelling tea. I guess I'd better get going back to Yamaku. There's only so long I can stall studying for, and I want to get a good night's sleep before the festival. Standing from my seat, I take the coffee-stained cup from the table. You're leaving? Yeah, you going to head back as well? It's getting kind of late. For a moment she pauses, before lifting her face over her teacup as if she was looking at me. Yuko, could we have one more coffee, please? Okay, I'll bring it right away. That's not subtle. Wow. Making us stay for longer, huh? She gives a short giggle at my frank assessment of her maneuver. Surprisingly childish and carefree, given her otherwise collected appearance. In the end, though, I have little reason to refuse. To be honest, I can hardly say no, all things considered. Giving a manufactured sigh, I take a seat opposite her. Wanting company, then? I'd say that it's more that I was wondering. You see, she's in questioning mode again. She does seem to be unusually interested in me, or at least curious. Do you have any siblings? Not exactly an unexpected tangent. No, only child. To be honest, the idea of having someone that close makes me a bit envious. Interesting. I raise an eyebrow, which of course goes unseen. The short silence communicates the question well enough. It's just that others have said the same thing before. It's a difficult subject to try and think about objectively, given that I've always had someone like that. I can mostly understand what Lily means, given that it would be hard to place oneself outside of a situation they've been in all their life. She and her sister must have a pretty close relationship. Taking pains to interrupt us as little as possible, Yuko dutifully comes over and places a cup on the table. Lily thanks her as I sit back, taking in this vexing girl in front of me. Ooh. Despite always seeming to be on her guard and in control of herself when talking to others, she has an almost childlike curiosity about other people. That said, those rare moments she seems to slightly lower guard are the most insightful into how she thinks. Reaching forward for my drink, I realize something I probably should have noticed earlier. I think I'm starting to become kind of curious about her. Ooh. Let's go. Oh, it's already... Wow, okay, it's already dark. Despite making a good pace, it's already nightfall by the time I reach the large iron gates in front of the school. While it's nice to have plenty of time to wander around by virtue of living right next to the school, I can't help but get the feeling that very few students actually take the opportunity. Compared to the number of students I see milling around on campus during free time, it's certainly rare to see anyone around town. Given the large number of accommodations and facilities that the school offers, many of them might simply not see any point in venturing outside, let alone people such as Hanako and Kenji. It makes me wonder if students like Shizune, Misha, and Lily are the exception for this school, rather than the norm. Oh. Whenever I see this hallway, the only thing I can think of is Kenji coming out of nowhere. As I wander back to my dorm room, I continue to compare my old school with Yamaku. As I do so, I began to be surprised that I managed to get even this used to everything that's happened to me. Or not. Oh wow, we don't even get to see Kenji? Oh. That's interesting. Well, it is pretty late at night, I guess. The next day, I wake up feeling a little lightheaded. It's almost noon already. Sleeping late is fine since it's a Sunday and there's no classes. Not just a Sunday though, but the festival as well. From my window, I can already see some people at the soba booth slinging noodles onto plates for people with a craving for low-quality food. I throw back a handful of my morning meds and ponder how to spend the day. There'll be a few exams in the coming week, but I don't consider those as ominous as others, so I'm not as worried about them as I probably should be. With no urgent obligations regarding education, I should be free to spend the day at the festival as I like. Finishing my morning routine, I exit into the hallway, intending to go out and find something to eat. Now we'll see Kenji, I bet. Right here, right now, look. Oh. Passing by his door, I decide to see what Kenji's up to today out of impulse. Oh, we're actually gonna go out of our way to see what Kenji's doing. I'm curious if he has any plans, since everyone is doing something. Then again, I can picture him having built a soundproof shelter in his room. Or possibly something like a fort, complete with no girls allowed sign. With the girls crossed out and body crudely scrawled underneath it. Knocking on his door which is luckily devoid of any kind of sign, I hear again the unsettling clicking of at least 10 locks being pulled back. The door opens up a crack. Who is it? You're supposed to ask that before you open the door. Oh, it's you. Damn, it's early. It's not really that early. What is it, man? Nothing. Was just gonna ask what you're gonna do today. Half the school is out there already. Oh, God. Out where? Why? What? What? It's today's special? Why are they there? Who are? I can hear them. It's loud. Don't tell me. Has the invasion begun? He suddenly looks more alarmed. What day is it, man? Yeah, I guess you can't see the big wooden booths outside and people selling stuff. What the hell are you talking about? I have my curtains closed at all times to thwart the snipers. It's the festival. You know that, right? Oh, shiza. That's today? Oh, damn. Damn it. I can't believe I forgot. I don't have my fort finished yet. This is bad. This is gonna be a very bad day. It's good you told me this, man. This is going to be a bad day. Why? Oh man, they're gonna be everywhere. The people, outside my window, socializing. Kenji rubs his temples nervously, suddenly looking very ill. It's gonna be loud as hell. Damn, and I was going to go out today, but now it's ruined. Everything is ruined. This is awful. This sucks. This sucks. What the hell? This really sucks. I can't go anywhere now. There's nowhere to run. Kenji seems nervous. You could even say he's majorly freaking out. I can't believe this. That's what today was. Damn, and I couldn't even prepare for it. I couldn't even brace myself, and now it's here, and I can't do anything. You should have told me this earlier, dude. I mean, at least I know, but I could have known earlier. Imagine what I could have accomplished. Sorry, I thought you knew. So I guess you're not going to do anything today. The weather is even good. Yesterday was really windy, so I thought today would be cold. It's not though, so there's no reason to just stay inside. Yeah, you should check the festival out. Kenji groans and covers his face with his hands.
No, I can't do it. They'll eat me alive out there, I know it.
That has to be a joke, but he said it with such a straight face, relatively straight.
What are you gonna do? We should hang out in here. You can help me build my fort. We might still make it if we work together.
I don't know. Goodness. I'm pretty hungry, so I thought I'd get some food first and then check out the attractions. Your class project seemed pretty cool, and I gave a hand with it, so I want to see at least that one and chat with Lily, I guess. Speaking of that, don't you have any obligation for the project?
Are you out of your mind? That blind broad is up to no good. I can feel it in my spleen, man. Her presence is like a dark shadow that's in the way of my great vision. It's expected of blind people.
Oh. What? Besides, I thought you were also... He holds up his hand to interrupt me.
Only legally.
Okay.
Metaphorically, I can see farther than any man before me has seen.
Then she looks stoically into the metaphorical distance to emphasize his statement, thrusting his chin forward to look manlier. Actually, it's just a corridor wall 2 meters away, but it's all the same.
I can see the future of mankind, and it's a dark one, unless the threat of women is stifled. They are everywhere.
He fingers his scarf nervously. Why? Why are you fingering it? Faster and faster, like he's trying to start a fire. And slowly begins to calm down once the panic attack finishes running its course.
I'm going to have to find some place to hide in, a safe haven, and then knock the lights out of myself so that I don't have to experience this horrible day. I have the perfect thing for that. I must prepare now. Don't go to the festival.
Okay.
Later, dude.
Okay. The door slowly closes with a low creak, and I don't know how to feel about what Kenji just said. After buying a plastic plate of takoyaki from a stall belonging to the class next to ours, I take a seat in the school gardens and watch people pass as I tentatively nibble away at the rather bland tasting item. I guess I shouldn't complain. It's better than nothing, and didn't cost much. As I look out towards the school, watching the people coming and go proves a surprisingly entertaining way of passing the time as I eat. Little children accompanied by parents or grandparents scamper about in the din from event to event, one hand dragging their company and the other bearing an oversized, colorful snack. I can't help but notice the age range among the people here is skewed towards the elderly, something that I'd also noticed when I was walking around town. This must be one of those towns where the only people left are those that lived here their whole lives and ardently refuse to leave, and those wanting to live out the rest of their days in one of the increasingly few tranquil places. I guess that also goes away to explaining how conservative Yamaku's school culture seems to be. Not that I mind one bit, I kind of like how calm Yamaku and its surroundings are. The heat, though, is another matter entirely. Sitting in one place for so long has focused my mind on how annoyingly humid it's getting, now that the hottest part of the day is here. Gah. The sound of the Carlian bells takes me completely by surprise as I stand up, a reaction shared by a few of the people strolling around as well. The PA system crackles to life after the tolling bells end. Its age shows as the principal makes a barely intelligible announcement over it, officially opening the festival that's very much in full swing. It's quite amusing to contrast the pleasant smiles of the older folk against the alternatively pained and bored grimaces of their younger charges. The students, on the other hand, seem to pay little heed. Nevertheless, as the address finally ends, all are united and polite, if not overly enthusiastic, applause, and then get back to business. Slipping a hand in my pocket to look as relaxed as possible, I casually glance around for something to do. It's somewhat difficult to see very far with all the people around. I decide to fall back on a tried and trusted rule. Go where everyone else seems to be gathering. Right now, that's the school courtyard and surroundings. Throwing the used plate into a trash can, I make my way towards the school building. Seeing the number of stalls around the perimeter of the school building surprises me. Quite a few of the classes might have opted to have multiple stalls. In deciding which to visit first, I catch sight of a familiar banner with a blue pendant border and red text. Lily's stall is as good as a place to start as any. curious as to how it's going after all the work she and her class have been doing for it. Stepping up to it, I begin to see why the class took so long to organize everything. Easily twice as wide as many of the other stalls, and with equipment for cooking strewn everywhere, it's closer to an outdoor restaurant than a festival event. As a student in front of me takes a bowl of noodles and leaves, I walk up to the counter. The girl behind it seems quite exasperated, and asks me to wait a moment before she disappears underneath the counter. Seizing the moment, I take a quick glance around. Steam seems to be rising from everywhere, as pots and pans simmer away. The most blind of the students are unpacking ingredients while being helped by someone who is probably the teacher of 3-2. It doesn't take long to notice Lily among them. Talking with the teacher, she quickly counts out the boxes and packets with her fingers. From her expression and the fact that both she and the teacher seem to be in a state of mild confusion, it appears that there's been some problem in coordination. Before I can stare any longer, the girl behind the counter pops up again, only to look back and ask where the spare change box is. Lily pauses for a moment before she and the girl switch places at the counter, and the teacher quickly walks off somewhere. So much reading. Ooh, okay. Sorry about that. We're having a few problems. What would you like? It takes me a second to remember what I'd come here for. My eyes quickly dart to the side to read the menu sitting on the counter. Oh, I guess some miso soup. Ah, look how cute she is. Ah, is that Hisao? Yep, looks like you're pretty busy. Her face all but confirms it as she drops her waitress facade. Somewhere along the line, our order got mixed up. Trying to fix it now, but it looks like we've only have half of what we needed. Wouldn't serving smaller portions cover over the problem? It seems like that's what we'll have to do, though I wish we didn't. The fact that a good half of our class is gone doesn't help either. I glance behind her to see how many people are actually operating the stall. We couldn't be over about 8. I take it that's why your teacher left? That's right. She's going to try and round up a few more of her classmates to help. Hearing the sound of footsteps behind me, I stealthily glance backwards to see an elderly couple taking a place in the line. I guess I'd better stop loitering around and chatting. Here's the menu for the soup. Soup. Oh, soup. Alright, coming right up. Lily turns and calls for a bowl of miso soup as I hand over the money for it. Taking the coins in her palm, I can't help but notice how efficiently she counts them out with her long, pale fingers. Eventually satisfied that I've handed over correct change, she puts it into a small metal tray. It isn't long before the soup is made and carefully handed to her, after which she turns and subsequently passes it to me. Thanks, I'll come back to drop off the bowl. Thank you, Hisao. Well, there's one other thing. Have you seen Hanako? Hanako? No, not today. Why? She gives a small sigh of abject disappointment. It's okay. I was just wondering what she was doing for the festival. You'll come back later when you're done, then. Sure. I'll keep an eye out for Hanako too. Thank you, Hisao. Walk off from the stall and find a seat, carefully cradling the steaming wooden bowl in both hands. Compared to the dumplings from before, this is quite nice. A little cool compared to what it probably should be, perhaps, but the flavors seem to cover for that reasonably well. As I drink, I can't help but feel somewhat guilty for not being as involved in the festival as the others. It can't really be helped, considering I was dropped into school only a week ago. But it still weighs heavily on my mind. That and the fact that a few students don't really seem to be enjoying the festival as much as the visitors. Eventually, I finish my bowl and leave for the stall to drop it off. Considering that there seems to be no line at all, I take my time walking up. It seems the teacher's mission paid off. There are now over a dozen students helping, and much of the unpacking has been done. Despite most of them seeming quite relaxed as they work, Lily still appears to be somewhat stressed. Right, I know what I'll do. Even if it's just one person, I'll make the festival more enjoyable for her. As I place the bowl on the counter, I call it to Lily. Ah, Hisao, you brought it back? Yeah, here. I slide into her hands, and she takes it over to someone who is apparently on cleaning duty. Considering that I didn't see them here before, it's probably a penalty for their tardiness. Hey, Lily. She perks up and returns to the counter as she hears my voice again, realizing that I'm still here. Want to go see some more of the festival? She puffs her cheeks, disapproving. Oh, she's so cute! Looks kind of cute, and in complete contradiction to her usually reserved nature. It takes a few seconds for me to get what she's taking issue with. Whoops. I didn't mean to... Lily giggles at me, exposing her teasing for what it is. You're still not used to the school, are you? She got me. Still, I kind of need to stay with her stall. It's taken until just now to get even everything unpacked. I guess her reluctance shouldn't overly surprise me, considering how much work she put into this. Everything seems to be running fine now, though. Besides, you got extra help on hand anyway. The boy in the middle of cooking some soba noodles turns towards us, grinning. Go on, Nils. You've earned yourself a break. We can hold down the fort for now. If you say so, it's okay. Then I suppose so. But if you need any help, then we'll call you. Go on, we'll be fine. Lily finally gives up her resistance as he waves the spatula at her. She feels her way around the back of the stall and picks up her cane on the way. I guess the first thing we should do is look for Hanako. Lily seems kind of worried about her, and I doubt she'd be the kind of person to enjoy milling about in crowds like this all alone. I guess we should search for Hanako. Where to first? Both of us go quiet for a moment to think. Maybe she's in her dorm room. I doubt it. She doesn't keep too many things in there, so she'd have nothing to do. Ah, the library? As good a place as any to search for an avid reader, I suppose. The library it is. We'll check there first then. Aside from the muffled sounds of the crowd seeping in from outside, the inside of the school seems almost deserted. In order to make sure everyone had enough room, I guess all the events were organized to be held outside, on school grounds. They're definitely quite large by any other school standards. It's nice and quiet. It's nice and quiet out in here, isn't it? Yeah, much nicer than the hustle and bustle outside. We take our time slowly walking through the first floor of the school, eventually reaching the stairs to the second floor. I can't help but notice how Lily anticipates every door and obstacle, her cane remaining still and her hands skating along the hallway railings. You really know the school well, don't you? She smiles and nods straight ahead. I've been here for a few years now, so I know where everything is. The domes still trip me up though sometimes. I haven't been there as long, and they're not as well laid out as the main building. If I'm remembering right, they used to be unused buildings before being renovated and used as dormitories. That explains why the male and female dorms look different from the outside, and why their rooms seem kind of unusual for sleeping quarters. I'd assumed she'd been living in the dormitory since she began attending the school, but now I'm reminded of what she said yesterday. That's right, you mentioned that before. I'd assumed that most of the students here lived in the dormitories once they enrolled. A lot of them seem to, in any case. Lily's expression becomes somewhat harder to read, my questioning evidently touching on a delicate point. Well, how should I say? Everyone has their reasons. Something tells me that one of those reasons is Hanako, hence her tiptoeing around the answer. My own predicament is yet another such case. I guess it's a choice everyone here would have to make for themselves, or, in my instance, have made for them. Can't be helped, I suppose. At least Yamaku itself seems like a nice place. It's good to hear you say that. I thought you were coming to dislike it. What about you, though? The reversal of Lily's statement takes her by surprise. I've been here for a while, so... It's not that. You seem pretty depressed about Akira. What's with that look? He was taken. Sorry, Hisao. Lily never sees how fast my palm meets my face at her sly accusation. Hey, I was worried about you. That's no way to respond to concern. While she gives an amused grin, we round the corner of the hallway and enter the library. As we do so, it isn't hard to spot Hanako, considering that the room is completely devoid of anyone else. Given that there are no staff around, I guess there's no need to heed the usual library rules. I call out to her. Hey, Hanako. Hanako is here? She hears our voices. Hanuko's head flicks up from behind her book, probably the same one she'd been reading on Friday. Sao? Lily? Just thought we'd drop by. Lily just managed to escape from the noodle stall with a little help. It wasn't really an escape. I like that face. Dude, that's such a cute face. Hanuko gives a small giggle, briefly surprising both of us. I just thought that Lily might not be enjoying the festival. Well, now we can enjoy it together, right? The two nod happily before we set out of the library and towards the festivities. It was already dark. I hand over some change to the girl behind the counter and take the 2 styrofoam cups of tea. I try to accentuate my bow a bit to cover for the fact that she's quite obviously deaf. Come to think of it, I probably should have asked for help instead of leaving those 2 in the gardens while I bought drinks. Trying to juggle the 2 cups of hot tea for them and a can of coffee for myself out of a vending machine isn't exactly easy. With some careful maneuvering though, I managed to keep everything stable and upright as I walk over to the bench where Lily and Hanako are sitting and chatting. It's actually quite a nice place, lit only by moonlight. It's tucked away some distance from the main events. Compared to how hot it had been during the day, the spot is also pleasantly cool by now. Not that it matters all that much. Most of the visitors have moved to areas that are either closer to the fireworks or higher on the hill in order to view the display apparently planned. Welcome back, Isao. Her ears are good. I'm not exactly close, and even Hanako hadn't noticed me. Here you go. Sorry it's not instant, but that's all they had left by now. Oh, sorry it's instant, but that's all they had left by now, okay. Hanako gingerly takes a cup from my right hand, and I gently place the other into Lily's outstretched hands. Did you enjoy the festival then, Hisao? Yeah, it was pretty fun. An honest answer. Much of the food may have been somewhat subpar, but it was a lot of fun in the end, especially with Hanako and Lily. In fact, I think those 2 may have enjoyed themselves even more than I did. With both Lily and me around, much of Hanako's withdrawn nature around others died down enough for her to enjoy herself. Oh, that actually kind of surprised me. Hey, fireworks. As we sit drinking, the whistle of the first firework rings out before it explodes into a vibrant shower of blue against the night sky, heralding the beginning of the end for the festival. Enthusiastic shouts can be heard from the crowds gathered around the school grounds celebrating them. For minutes on end, Hanako and I watch the fireworks overhead as Lily blissfully listens to them with her eyes shut. Red, green, yellow, star-shaped, circular and patterned, and all manners of shapes and colors fill the air, one after the other, and dance across the sky. No place near where I lived put on such lavish displays. Festivals like this were a thing of the past in such a metropolitan area. Oh my god. I don't say this word at all, so then it took me a while to say it. Yeah, I rarely say that word. Be seeing such a sight with these 2, it's probably the happiest I've been in a long while. I like this music too, this is really nice. So that's it. The festival's finally ending. Yeah. She gives a delicate, wistful sigh. As much as I thought I might complain about all the stuff we have to do, it's still sad that we'll have graduated before the next Yamaku festival. I walked forwards and stand beside Lily, gently resting a hand on her shoulder. Don't worry, we still have Tanabata later in the year, right? You're right. It would be nice to go there when it comes. Minutes of silence pass, with only the blast of the fireworks to be heard. Yo, is this an anime moment right now? Yo. Seeing these 2 reminds me of those words of advice Lily had given me as we walked into town together. Cherish the opportunity to make new friends, huh? Hey, Lily. Ooh. Ooh. This is getting good. I don't know. She turns her head slightly to show that she's listening. Hanako's gaze still firmly fixed on the technicolor of fireworks bursting overhead. You mind if I join you 2 for tea every now and again? Oh, and the music. Oh, dude, that's perfect timing. This is so good. I love moments like this. The smile on her face is more than enough to see her answer. It would be a pleasure, Hisao. Yo. Wait, what is this? What's happening? Oh, ooh, cutscene. Oh, okay. Act 2 passed. Bro, that was a sick cutscene. Actually, so nice. Dude, she's so tall. She's basically our height. Or maybe even taller. I don't know. It looked like she was taller in that thing. But man, that was cool. I don't know if that was spoilers though. I think that seemed like it will. Uh, some parts. I mean, I can't speak right now. I feel like those were maybe some events that will happen in the future. It looks like, but I don't know. But anyways, now that we started on Act 2, we're officially on the Lily route. So, anyways, I think that'll be enough for me, guys. Wow, no, that was really cool. Anyways, make sure you guys like and subscribe. Looks like we'll be starting Act 2 next episode. And see you guys in the next one. See ya.